Welcome back. You're watching GameStop TV with me, Wade Ronspies. Well, not with me technically, but never mind, let's just talk about Control for a little bit, alright? Control is a third-person action game from Remedy Entertainment, the creators of fan favorites like Max Payne and Alan Wake. And stick a pin in Alan Wake, because we'll come back to that later. Actually, we'll come back to both Max Payne and Alan Wake later, but especially keep Alan Wake in mind. Remedy has essentially combined everything they've done before in Control, but with some interesting twists and turns. It's got the stylish, fast-paced gunplay of Max Payne, the spooky influences of Alan Wake, and the flashy abilities and beautiful visuals of Quantum Break. Also, Alan Wake and Quantum Break rhyme, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but now I kind of wish that all their titles rhymed. In Control, the player assumes the role of Jesse, the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. The Federal Bureau of Control is basically a secret branch of the US government that specializes in occult or otherwise supernatural objects, places, and events. Their headquarters is in a place called the Oldest House, which is where the events of Control take place. Things shift and move and disobey pretty much all the laws of physics. The supernatural isn't just a part of the world and its lore. Our protagonist also draws upon these strange forces to use a variety of different abilities. Jesse can create shields out of debris, float in midair, and throw any object in the environment. But the main form of offense is a shape-shifting gun called the service weapon, an object of power that has to choose who wields it. It may begin as a handgun, but over the course of the game, it takes the form of a shotgun or other weapons. Mods can also be applied to it for certain buffs and modifiers, so you can really customize things to suit your playstyle. A part of Control that I don't think people know about is that it's actually kind of a third-person Metroidvania game. The Oldest House has a ton of areas that you can only access once you obtain certain abilities, and there's a surprisingly large emphasis on observation and discovery. So those fancy abilities aren't just for combat, they're also for exploring the map. To me, Control feels like a spiritual successor to Quantum Break in a few ways. It doesn't have a baked-in TV show or any big actors attached like Shawn Ashmore or Aidan Gillen, at least as far as I know, but from a visual and gameplay design perspective, it's clear they weren't quite ready to let go of Quantum Break. Quantum Break tried some new things with its presentation, but that's because Remedy has always been at the forefront of experimentation and presentation. Remember when I told you to put a pin in Max Payne and Alan Wake? We're back, but still keep a pin in Alan Wake. Max Payne was pretty revolutionary at the time for its crazy advancements in the action game genre. Max Payne was actually the first game to use bullet time as we know it, where the game slows down and lets you pick your targets and maneuver more easily and more coolly. So, okay, we've talked about Control, we've talked about Quantum Break, we've talked about Max Payne, now it's time to talk about Alan Wake, which is actually many people's favorite game from Remedy. Alan Wake was a huge part of the Xbox 360's identity, adding a new IP and a new take on the thriller genre to Xbox's already extensive 360 lineup. Alan Wake stars its titular character, Alan Wake, a writer who escapes to the Pacific Northwest in order to get some inspiration for a book he's working on. And with Alan Wake, you can already start to see the seeds of Quantum Break with its TV-style presentation. One of the breakthroughs Alan Wake is known for, however, are its advancements in technology, specifically in the visual department. While it might not be too pretty by today's standards, game developers were still in the process of figuring out light in games in 2010. So the idea of using light, in all of its forms, as a weapon was a pretty crazy idea at the time. Okay, so why am I trying to sell Alan Wake so hard? Well, that's because Remedy, even though they've been in the public eye mostly for Control as of late, they've also regained the rights to publish Alan Wake themselves. So maybe, just maybe, depending on how well Control does, we could see a return for Alan Wake. It seems as though if you're a fan of Remedy's work, there's a ton to be excited about. And technically they're an independent team working out of Finland, so that's pretty impressive. Remedy is a studio worth paying attention to because even if it doesn't always seem as if there's much to be excited about on the surface, there's always some wild new ideas or concepts underneath it all. They're the kind of studio that doesn't do something unless they think it has something major to offer, which is why I'm excited for Control. And that's it for me on Remedy. I really hope you check out Control. I think it's a really cool looking game, and I honestly wouldn't be doing this, I wouldn't be making this video if I didn't truly believe that. If you want to keep tabs on me, I'm Ronspies at YouTube and at WadeLikesPie on Twitter. And just Ronspies on Instagram. I kind of share some screenshots I take and I really like photo modes, so I share some of that stuff on Instagram as well. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to GameStop TV.